The rotors thrummed through the night sky as 4 Black Hawk helicopters sliced toward the cartel stronghold, their silhouettes barely visible against the moonless horizon. Bullets pinged off armored undersides, tracer rounds arcing up from the ground like angry fireflies. Inside one cockpit, the pilot gripped the controls tighter, whispering into his headset, "We're taking fire. Hold steady." This was no ordinary raid. It targeted a $1 billion drug empire hidden in the remote jungles of Central America, a fortress fueling violence across borders. The US had planned this for months, deploying elite forces to dismantle it before it could ship another ton of narcotics. But what nobody expected was the twist that would push the Black Hawks to their limits, revealing just how far cartels had gone in arming themselves. Lives hung in the balance, cutting-edge tech faced its toughest test, and the global drug trade teetered on the edge. To understand how it all went down, we have to go back to the planning phase. Intelligence painted a grim picture. DEA agents and military analysts had spent weeks piecing together satellite imagery, intercepted communications, and tips from informants. The cartel base sprawled across 200 acres of dense Columbian terrain, bunkers carved into hillsides, underground labs processing cocaine worth billions, and armed guards patrolling with AK-47s. It wasn't just a lab, it was a self-sustaining fortress, complete with airstrips for smuggling planes and watchtowers scanning the skies. The goal was clear: neutralize the leadership, destroy the production facilities, and seize the stockpiles before they flooded U.S. streets. But the remote location meant no easy access. Narrow valleys funneled approaches, and the jungle canopy hid threats. That's where the Black Hawks came in. The UH-60 variants were the perfect choice for this op. These workhorses of the U.S. Army have logged millions of flight hours since the 1970s, evolving from basic transports into multi-role beasts. For this mission, they selected the MH-60M Special Operations version, stealthier than standard models, with low-noise rotors to slip past patrols and a top speed of 183 miles per hour to cover the 300-mile insertion fast. Firepower was key too. Each chopper could carry door gunners with M240 machine guns, Hellfire missiles for precision strikes, and even 70mm rockets for softening targets. Their ability to hover low and stable made them ideal for dropping Delta Force teams right into the hot zone without tipping off the enemy early. The strategy revolved around a night assault to maximize surprise. Launching from a forward base in Panama, the Black Hawks would fly nap of the earth, hugging the terrain at 50 feet to avoid radar. Electronic warfare prep was crucial. Onboard AN/ALQ-144 jammers would scramble any cartel radios or basic sensors, while the pilot's integrated helmet displays fuse night vision feeds with GPS for pinpoint navigation. Ground teams, a mix of SEALs and DEA agents, would fast rope down to secure the perimeter, then push inward. Support from a distant AC-130 gunship was on standby, but the Black Hawks had to handle the heavy lifting. The tech edge gave them confidence. Avionics like the TCAS collision avoidance system kept the formation tight even in zero visibility, while FLIR pods, forward-looking infrared, spotted heat signatures through the foliage. Door-mounted miniguns spun up at a moment's notice, capable of 4,000 rounds per minute. Intel showed the cartel with small arms and maybe a few RPGs, but nothing fancy, low-tech threats they could handle. Underestimating that could be fatal in such tight quarters. With the plan locked in, the helicopters lifted off into the unknown, engines roaring toward destiny. Intelligence from DEA and military sources revealed the cartel's fortified base in remote Colombian jungle. Bunkers, labs, and guards with AKs processing billions in coke. Satellite pics and intercepts guided the plan. Destroy it all, seize stockpiles. Black Hawks were picked for their UH-60M stealth, 183 miles per hour speed, and firepower, Hellfires, miniguns, rockets. Low-noise rotors aided night insertion. Plan set, choppers launched. Deep in the war room, analysts pored over maps. The base was a maze of concrete bunkers and hidden tunnels in thick jungle, guarded by 200 sicarios. It pumped out tons of drugs yearly, worth $1 billion on the street. Why Black Hawks? The UH-60 lines proven in raids like Panama 89. MH-60M variant offered stealth coatings, reducing radar signature, speed to evade pursuit, and modular weapons, Door M240S, Hydra rockets. Ground teams coordinated via Link 16 network, fast roping 12 operators each. Avionics like digital cockpits allowed hands-free flying. Night vision turned black to green, miniguns ready for suppressive fire. Locked and loaded, rotors spun up for launch. The formation skimmed the treetops, engines muffled by the humid air. Lead pilot Captain Reyes scanned his instruments. The FLIR pod picked up the first patrol. 2 cartel trucks bouncing along a dirt road. "Eyes on tangos, 2 o'clock," he called. The Black Hawks banked slightly, staying below radar horizon. No alarms yet. The jammers were doing their job, turning any walkie-talkie chatter into static. At 10 miles out, the base lights flickered into view, harsh floodlights illuminating chain-link fences and stacked crates of product. Insertion point was a clearing 500 yards from the main compound, chosen for its cover. Ropes dropped first. One by one, 48 operators fast roped down, boots hitting soft earth silently. The Black Hawks pulled up sharp, hovering just long enough to confirm no immediate threats. Ground teams fanned out, M4 carbines at the ready, moving through underbrush toward the perimeter. Up above, the choppers circled at 1,000 feet, pilots switching to standby mode, engines idling, gunners peering through sights. Initial strike hit hard. From the air, a Hellfire missile streaked from the lead Black Hawk, slamming into a guard tower. The explosion lit the night, secondary blasts from ammo caches rippling outward. Perimeter guards scattered, firing wildly into the dark. Ground teams exploited the chaos, breaching the fence with suppressed shots. Inside, they hit the storage facilities, warehouses packed with 50 tons of cocaine bricks, vacuum sealed and ready for shipment. Flashbangs cleared rooms. Cartel chemists surrendered, hands up as operators zip-tied them. One team uncovered a ledger detailing shipments to 20 U.S. cities, a billion-dollar pipeline exposed. Black Hawk support kept the momentum. As ground forces pushed deeper, the helicopters descended for hovering fire. Miniguns chattering to pin down reinforcements rushing from barracks. One chopper, call sign Viper 2, spotted a cartel technical mounting a .50 caliber. A burst of 70mm rockets turned it into twisted metal. Pilots coordinated with ground leads. Viper 1, we've got eyes on the lab. Clear for strike. Another Hellfire punched through the roof, igniting chemical vats in a fireball that consumed the heart of operations. Evac maneuvers were textbook. When a wounded operator went down from shrapnel, a Black Hawk swooped low. Litter lowered to hoist him aboard mid-flight. Chaos escalated fast. Cartel fighters poured out, 100 strong now, spraying AK fire that cracked against chopper armor. Tracers zipped past cockpits, one grazing a rotor blade. "Suppressing now!" the door gunner yelled, his M240 belching lead to cover the advance. Ground teams cleared key structures room by room, bunkers yielding cash stacks in the millions, servers with encrypted ledgers. A soldier, Sergeant Hale, later recalled the acrid smoke and shouts in Spanish. It was like storming a hive. They kept coming, but we had the air on our side. Pilots made split-second calls, evade a lucky RPG by banking hard, or hold position to extract a pinned squad. One Black Hawk took a hit to the tail, but redundant systems kept it airborne, crew unfazed. The helicopters maintained air superiority effortlessly. Their speed let them reposition in seconds, outflanking ground threats. Electronic countermeasures disrupted cartel spotters trying to call in more muscle. As the main lab burned, teams radioed success. Leadership cornered in a command center. High-value target, the cartel's top chemist, in custody. It felt like victory was in reach, the billion-dollar empire crumbling under coordinated assault. But victory seemed certain until the anti-aircraft surprise unfolded. Ground teams were securing the command center when the night exploded into a new kind of hell. From a hidden bunker, Cartel enforcers unleashed their secret weapon, smuggled military-grade MANPADS, man-portable air defense systems like the Russian Igla-S, acquired through black market deals with rogue arms dealers. These weren't the crude RPGs Intel had flagged, they were heat-seeking missiles with infrared guidance, capable of locking onto engine exhaust from 2 miles out. Worse, a portable radar unit, pieced together from stolen military surplus, painted the Black Hawks on a grainy screen, feeding targeting data to the launchers. "Missile lock, evade," Reyes shouted over the comms as the first plume of smoke streaked upward. The cartel's upgrade came from deep ties to international syndicates, turning a drug lab into a fortified SAM site overnight. No one saw it coming. Assumptions of low-tech foes shattered in seconds. The Black Hawk's countermeasures kicked in instinctively. Pilots punched the flare dispensers, launching a barrage of decoy pyrotechnics that bloomed like fiery flowers behind the formation. The Igla's seeker head veered toward the hotter signatures, detonating harmlessly 200 yards off Viper 1's tail. Electronic jammers ramped up next, the AN/ALQ, 211 systems flooding the airwaves with broadband noise, confusing the missile's guidance and the radar's pulse. "Jamming active, braking left," the co-pilot confirmed, yanking the cyclic to dive behind a ridgeline. Evasive tactics were drilled into every crew. Violent jinks, terrain masking, and pop-up maneuvers to break line of sight. One chopper, Viper 3, rolled inverted briefly, using the jungle canopy as a shield, while its crew scanned for the next threat. These systems weren't add-ons. They were core to the UH-60's survivability, tested in Iraq and Afghanistan against worse odds. The evasion turned intense, a deadly game of cat and mouse at treetop level. A second MANPADS fired from the tree line, its warhead screaming past Viper 2's cockpit by mere feet. The pilot felt the heat wash over the windshield. Warning tones blared in helmets. Inbound. Inbound. Advanced survivability tech shown here. The missile approach warners, MAWs, integrated with the aircraft's fly-by-wire controls, auto-deploying chaff clouds of metallic strips to spoof radar-guided variants. Viper 2 climbed sharply, flares trailing like a comet's tail as the missile self-destructed in the undergrowth. Down below, ground teams adapted on the fly. Operators shifted fire to the launcher sites, suppressing the gunners with grenades and sniper rounds. Sergeant Hale's squad flanked a radar operator, taking him down amid the chaos. His gear revealed Chinese-made components, a sign of how global the threat had become. Pilots coordinated mid-air. Viper flight, form up on me, priority extract. The Black Hawk's redundant hydraulics and armored cockpits absorbed stray hits, keeping them aloft when lesser birds would have spun out. Adaptation sealed the escape. With the site mostly secured, labs in flames, stockpiles booby-trapped for destruction, the helicopters descended under sustained fire for pickup. Ropes uncoiled again, operators hauling up the wounded and the high-value prisoner, the chemist who spilled details on suppliers under duress. As the last boot cleared the ground, rotors bit hard, lifting the formation skyward. One more Igla launch grazed Viper 4's skid, but evasive spirals and a final jammer burst sent it wide. The Black Hawks punched out at full throttle, 183 miles per hour, carrying them beyond range, while AC-130 Overwatch finally engaged, leveling the remaining bunkers with 105mm howitzer fire. Back at base, crews debriefed shaken, but intact. No losses, though 2 choppers nursed shrapnel wounds. In the aftermath, the base lay smoldering, its billion-dollar operation reduced to ash, and seized intel worth far more. But the raid exposed how cartels were evolving, sourcing anti-air tech from conflict zones to counter U.S. air dominance. What started as a drug bust became a wake-up call on asymmetric threats. Broader implications rippled out. Future anti-narcotics ops now mandate drone sweeps for hidden SAMS, and Black Hawk upgrades prioritize next-gen jammers against proliferated weapons. Partnerships with allies tightened, sharing intel on arms flows. This one night shifted strategies, proving that in the war on drugs, the enemy adapts faster than expected. The operation's success came at a cost that changed everything. That raid didn't just dismantle a cartel empire, it forced a hard rethink on how air power meets ground threats in the shadows of global crime. The Black Hawks proved their mettle, but the MANPADS' surprise highlighted gaps. Cartels aren't staying low-tech anymore, blending narco funds with military hardware smuggled from hotspots like the Middle East and Eastern Europe. Lives were saved by split-second tech and training, yet it underscored the human cost. Pilots staring down missiles, soldiers dodging fire in the dark. The billion-dollar haul disrupted shipments for months, weakening networks tied to US borders. But the real win was the lessons etched into doctrine. Now, ops integrate AI-driven threat detection and hypersonic countermeasures, ensuring helicopters like the UH-60 stay ahead. What does this mean for the future? Anti-drug raids will lean heavier on unmanned scouts and electronic dominance, turning potential disasters into routes. Aviation enthusiasts, think about it. The Black Hawk's role expands beyond battlefields into this hybrid warfare. If you're hooked on how these machines evolve against new foes, hit subscribe to Military Air for deep dives into stealth tech, raid tactics, and the aircraft shaping tomorrow's skies. Drop a comment. What's the next cartel counter you see coming? Watch our take on F-35 strikes next. Don't miss it.